Today is Thursday, December 19th, 2024. My name is Hunter. Welcome back to Weather on the Go, all your weather coverage. We're going to be talking about snow in today's weather forecast. Believe it or not, we actually have some snow in the picture. We're also talking about colder air with some milder air in the mix, and we're just talking about a lot of storms moving in towards the Christmas week time frame. So let's look here at the weather alerts across the country, and we actually have winter weather advisories, winter storm warnings stretching from North Dakota into parts of South Dakota, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Michigan here this Thursday. And looking here at the tan and brown shaded colors, these are wind advisories and even high wind warnings back here into the Dakotas, Nebraska, and western Iowa. On the southwest side of the system, where we're seeing some really strong northwest winds cranking out here on this Thursday. And they're going to be cranking out in a big way here, especially in South Dakota and Nebraska. We could be seeing wind gusts over 60 miles per hour over the next 12 to 24 hours. So make sure any objects that are not secured out here are secured, as they will be flying away with these very strong winds through the next 24 hours. Let's look here at the snowfall heading into the afternoon across Wisconsin, back into Minnesota, northeast Iowa, and far northern Illinois up toward Rockford, and then over here into western lower Michigan. We're seeing some snowfall. Some moderate pockets of snow will continue across Lake Michigan into parts of the state of Michigan as we go into tonight. Northeast Illinois, so down there in downtown Cook County in Chicago, definitely could be seeing some snowfall overnight tonight. Northern Indiana, Fort Wayne, back toward Gary and South Bend. We could be seeing some snowfall in the northwestern Ohio into Toledo. We could be seeing that as well. Then as we go into Friday, the snowfall will continue across the Ohio Valley and into the northeast for especially New York State and Pennsylvania, including the Poconos there in Pennsylvania. And then as we go into Friday night, that will start to clear out from west to east across the mid-Atlantic and the northeast. Here are the snowfall areas that we're going to be seeing it across portions of North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota, Wisconsin, parts of northeast Iowa, northern Illinois, into Michigan, into northern Indiana, Ohio, New York State, Pennsylvania, the Appalachians down there, and West Virginia going to be seeing some snowfall there. Those are the states that will be seeing the snow. How much snow will we be seeing? We could be seeing over a 5-6 inch totals there in central Wisconsin, up there toward Eau Claire, into La Crosse, Green Bay, even north of Milwaukee there. And then more of a 2 to 4 inch snow there across central and northern lower Michigan. And then as you extend it over here to the northeast, lighter amounts yet, but we still could be seeing some grassy surfaces accumulation here across New York State and into Pennsylvania, and then down the Appalachians into West Virginia. A good 1 to 3 inches of snow here. An isolated 4 inch total cannot be ruled out through your Saturday time frame. Overall, this could lead to some travel inconveniences and disruptions as we go into the weekend. We definitely can see some minor, moderate travel disruptions, especially where we get the snow to overlap with those strong winds. In South Dakota especially, that could create near whiteout conditions or blizzard conditions going into your Friday time frame. So definitely be watching out for that. As far as temperatures are concerned, today we have the Arctic air up to the north. It's really localized across the northern tier of the United States and southern Canada. The orange and reds, that is the milder Pacific air across the Intermountain West and the West Coast. Looking at Friday, it's going to become more widespread with that Arctic air as we go into the central and eastern U.S. And obviously a lot of these areas further south, like into Kansas, Missouri, Kentucky, Tennessee, and further south from there, really don't have a snowpack on the ground at all. So it's going to be modifying Arctic air, but it's still going to be Arctic air in origin nonetheless. And you can see that this afternoon. We are seeing highs in the single digits to teens up here across portions of North Dakota, Montana, into northern Minnesota. Waking up Friday morning, these areas that have that snowpack on the ground, especially from this Clipper system, will be seeing temperatures below zero and maybe even double digits below zero up here in the parts of North Dakota and northwest Minnesota. You factor in the wind chill, those wind chills could be down into the minus 20s as we start Friday morning. So make sure if you're heading off to work or school, you bundle up with a winter jacket out there. And then going into Friday afternoon, looks like another cold day up here across the upper Midwest. Bundle up. We have single digits, teens, and some 20s across the board up there. So for the Twin Cities, for Des Moines, for Omaha, all the way up into Bismarck and Fargo, it's going to be pretty cold going into Friday afternoon. Let's look at the weekend forecast for you. You can see the temperature anomalies by Saturday. We're seeing the Arctic air start to depart further off to the east. in the Pacific in the mild air off to the west, and that's going to slowly creep eastward toward the Mississippi Valley as we go into Sunday. You can still see the Arctic air holding firm, though, across parts of Ontario, Quebec, and southeast Canada, but also the northeast up here, and that is enhanced, again, by our snowpack we have on the ground from Maine all the way back down here toward Pennsylvania. Looking at Saturday afternoon, here are our highs, and you can see, again, modified Arctic air further to the south, but you can see where the snowpack is. We're going to see highs up here in the northeast from Maine to Pennsylvania in the teens and 20s. Looking at Sunday morning, any church services, any errands that you have to run, again, bundle up. We're going to see temperatures in the single digits above or below zero up here around the northeast U.S., the freezing line very far south, and then Sunday afternoon, a nice bump in our numbers here across the central and southern plains. Temperatures there getting into the 60s and maybe even some 70s out there. There's the Arctic air from Maine back here into New Hampshire, Vermont, upstate New York into the teens for highs only Sunday afternoon as we continue to have that cold air hang on firm. Pretty uneventful as far as precipitation goes this weekend. On Saturday, maybe some rainfall over here for Seattle, Portland, and down into parts of Northern California. Some remnant snow flurries and snow showers across the Northeast. Sunday, again, pretty uneventful. Looking here at some rainfall out west, really seeing a lot of H's here. That is high pressure across the east, and we're going to see some sunshine breaking out for the weekend. Heading into next week, we got a big pattern change in the offing here. Monday, December 23rd through Friday, December 27th. This is Christmas week. We got a big ridge of high pressure here in eastern Canada, and that's going to bottle up the polar vortex further to the north here where it's supposed to be really this time of year. But you can see over here in the Gulf of Alaska, big trough starting to dig in. That's our next storm system that'll arrive on the west coast later next week. But looking at those temperatures out ahead of that storm system, they are going to be warming up in a big way. We're seeing temperature anomalies 30 to 40 degrees above the norm for what we should see during the last week of December here in the central U.S. and even southern Canada, while the departing cold air will lean below normal from Maine all the way down to the Carolinas. But even so, we'll be warming up there later next week. We're going to be seeing a moisture-laden system. We already talked about how that trough in the Gulf of Alaska is going to be moving into the west coast, and that's going to bring a parade of storms across the United States. Very wet out west, but the central and eastern United States will start to get wetter later next week, especially after Christmas. So starting off on Monday, December 23rd, start the work week here. We have some weaker systems with some rain and or snow, not really going to be piling up to much. And then a bigger system arrives Christmas Eve across the west coast. Very heavy snow dumping here across the Sierras. Heavier rain across the west coast of the United States from Washington State, Oregon, all the way down to central California there on the coast. Wednesday, Christmas Day, got some rain showers, maybe from Chicago down to St. Louis and Indianapolis. Some rogue showers and storms down there toward Texas as well. There's our low pressure system in the Four Corners region in New Mexico. That's going to be a focal point for Thursday night, and into Friday. This could be a severe weather maker down here into Oklahoma, into Texas, Arkansas, and Louisiana there on Thursday and Thursday night, and then pushing up into Missouri, Arkansas, Louisiana, Western Tennessee, and Mississippi. Need to watch that as we go into Friday. Looking at the parameters for severe weather, Thursday, December 26th, Friday, December 27th, post-Christmas travel. We have some convective available potential energy, or CAPE. This is storm energy that we need for severe weather. That's up around 1,000 to 2,000 joules per kilogram, especially the further south you go toward the Gulf of Mexico. We have the mid-level, upper-level jet here really cranking across Texas there into the lower Mississippi Valley, and the low-level jet's going to be cranking, so we could see some rotating storms as we go into that Thursday, Friday time frame. Obviously still too far out for the exact details, and the exact details may start to change over the next few days. But right now, the Colorado State University severe weather probabilities have a pretty low chance of severe weather, maximizing across the Oklahoma-Arkansas state line on Thursday, and then maximizing across North Louisiana near Shreveport and Monroe as we go into Friday. So we'll keep you updated on that as we do go closer. The Storm Prediction Center doesn't have any outlooks yet either, so definitely still a lot of uncertainty with that. Regardless of the severe weather chance, heavier rain is going to be expected from the Ohio Valley, Midwest, all the way back toward the Lone Star State of Texas. Could be seeing a couple inches of rain there, and then very heavy moisture across the west coast from British Columbia of Canada down into western Washington State, western Oregon, northern and western California. Could be seeing several inches of rainfall as we go into next week. And a lot of that in the higher elevations like the Cascades, the Sierras, and the Northwest Rockies will really get dumped on with feet of snow. And up there in British Columbia, the Vancouver region literally could be seeing 110 inches or so of snow just next week alone. And we have some lighter snowfall across the Great Lakes into the Northeast that may provide us with a white Christmas. For a white Christmas, you need an inch or more of snow on the ground. We may just see that across some of these areas. So fingers crossed on that. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and check back often for updates. Like the video down below by giving it a thumbs up, especially if you did enjoy it. Share this video with friends, family, and on social media. I definitely appreciate that as well. Also, leave any comments, questions, and concerns below. We'll get to those after the video, and I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of their Thursday.